Welcome along, fellow time travelers. We are continuing our tour of SWANNANOA, North Carolina, which is about 15 minutes or so east of Asheville. I had to turn the camera off briefly because I was speaking to somebody to see if they needed some assistance. So every once in a while, if you see my camera turn off and then turn back on, it's usually because of something like that. Sometimes I see people on their own and they're trying to lift something into their car or into their truck. So I put the camera down and I help them out when I can. As you can see, SWANNANOA was hit really hard. A lot of the vehicles you see are volunteers that are just parking on the side of the road because they're helping, but pretty good majority of them are just damaged beyond repair and have just been abandoned. Look how beautiful this town is. I obviously have no idea where you live, but North Carolina has some really beautiful towns, and North Carolina has a reputation of having some really good people. And I'm going to tell you some of the reasons why. First of all, it has an excellent school system, and so you've got some really great, well-educated people. And I don't just mean the famous universities like UNC Chapel Hill or Duke University or Boone and places like that. I mean K through 12. Second, it is not the most expensive place on earth to live. I mean, of course, you have plenty of wealthy people throughout North Carolina, and there are expensive places. But in the grand scheme of things, it's an affordable place to live. And so many of the people don't have the same stress and anxiety that people, for example, in New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts or, God, anywhere in California. I'm not at all familiar with this area that I'm walking through right now, but I do know that throughout North Carolina, there are plenty of former mill towns. And so, for example, you would have the mill, and then the mill would build houses for the workers to live in, and they'd be all right, pretty cool houses. And then you would have nicer ones, and the people that lived in the nicer ones would normally be the executives that ran that mill. Whether or not this neighborhood were for mill workers or mill executives, I don't know, but it wouldn't be unusual in small towns such as this. Another reason why I think that people in North Carolina are just absolutely wonderful and happy is you have this really great weather. The winters are not horribly harsh, the summers are not miserably hot, and the spring and the fall are beautiful. Also, many towns such as this have mountains in the distance, and that's just great for people's mental health in general, to be able to drive around and see mountains in the distance. I wish there was a way for me to fully articulate to you how awful it is to breathe around here. I mean, it's easy to look at the images and see how dreadful they are, but I gotta tell you, there's a lot of dust in the air, and you can just smell it, and it's just dreadful. And I probably should have gotten some sort of chemical mask or something by now, and I haven't. But if I'm going to keep on doing this, and I am, I'm going to have to get one. I did order a dash cam, so I'm going to be using that pretty soon. Because there are some times I just can't get out of the car, and it might be interesting for you to be able to watch what it's like to drive around here. But how awful is this, right? I mean, these were people's homes. This was their neighborhood. And if you think it looks bad now, think about what it looked like a week or so ago, when it was flooded and debris filled the road and all the yards. Anyone watching this work in construction? Would you move back into any of these homes after they were flooded with water? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I've been seeing a lot of volunteers for Samaritan Purse. For those who do not know, it is an evangelical Christian humanitarian aid organization, and they provide aid to people in physical need as part of their Christian missionary work. And they've been here providing emergency food and water and aid. So thank goodness for them. And as you can see, there's a lot of junk that needs to be cleaned up. Got a stream right there. That was a business that's going to be out for a long time. See that house there on the right? I was told the water flooded all the way up to the windows, higher to the top of the windows. Imagine that, because you're like in a little bit of a valley here, right? And this was all filled with water. Imagine that's your car. Imagine this was your street. And there's two people right there, a brother and sister, and they came in from Georgia to help with the cleanup, as well as so many other volunteers. Now we're getting up to this major thoroughfare, and I tried earlier to cross the street. It is not the easiest thing to do in the world. Alright, sorry about that. I actually stopped to speak to that gentleman, and I'm going to add that interview in another video. This is the CVS parking lot where I parked, and they are not in full operation, but you have these great employees there who are working in rather unpleasant conditions in order to help out the community. Now the plan is to cross the street if possible to head over to that BP, which has been closed down but is being used to distribute aid. So we're going to go check that out. You have people sleeping in tents, which is sad to see, but many people, I guess, want to be as close to the aid as possible. The amount of generosity that our fellow Americans have provided to these people in need is really extraordinary. Look at all the great clothes they provided. I saw people earlier, and they were going through there, and they're getting peanut butter, and they've got canned food, got baby food, you've got toys, you've got a lot of water. How great is this to see? Not FEMA, by the way. This is fellow Americans helping each other day in and day out. And of course, you've got the river right there. And the houses on the other side have just been destroyed. It's horrific to see, isn't it? I mean, there's this beautiful river, right? Imagine you live in this beautiful little town. You pull up to the gas station. You've got the river right there. You've got people on the other side living on the river. And then one day, it's like nature turns against us. And it goes from a thing of beauty to a thing of total destruction. Turns into a monster. I can show you images like this, and you can see the stores closed down and all the destruction that's involved with that. But then you think about all the people, right, that don't have their jobs anymore. Their routine is completely messed up. Think about the stress that adds to somebody's life when their routine is completely changed. I remember when I was a kid, I read something in a psychology book about how one of the many reasons it's so difficult on somebody when you lose somebody that you love, right? A husband, a wife, brother, sister, somebody that you see often, is the complete change of your schedule, right? You have somebody's phone number, and how long after you lose somebody can you bring yourself to delete their phone number from your phone? Because you're not going to be calling them ever again, right? I mean, I've had to deal with that. I had to deal with that with my dad. Years went by, and his phone number is still on my phone, even though I know he's never going to call me ever again, and I'm never calling him ever again. And so you've got that additional strain and stress on people's lives, in addition to everything else. As you can see, that Burger King is in pretty bad shape. Mud everywhere. Remind me to get new boots. So right now we're going to walk over to a distribution area that I passed earlier. I'm interested to see what's going on in there. This is a bank. I don't know which bank it was, but certainly not open for business right now. I'm eager to see if I could find FEMA anywhere. Now listen, I'm not political. I'm not interested in making political videos. I'm not interested in making political comments. But I've got boots on the ground here. I'm walking around. I'm speaking to a lot of people. And it's the regular people. It's the neighbors. It's the churches. It's the volunteers that are making all the difference. For all I know, FEMA could be everywhere that I'm not. They possibly are. Maybe FEMA's everywhere. Maybe you can't go 3 feet without tripping over a FEMA volunteer. It's entirely possible. I've not seen it. I will tell you this. I've been to Florida many times. And there was one major hurricane a long freaking time ago. What was the big one? Katrina, right? Was it Katrina? And there were so many FEMA trailers. They were everywhere. I don't think they knew what the hell to do with them. You know, but it was for people to be able to live in since their homes were destroyed. They were everywhere. And they were there for years, I believe. And then afterward, they had so many, they didn't know where to put them. And I remember driving not along 95, but on the other coast, right? So you're up 75 going through, what was that, Naples, Fort Myers, Punta Gorda, Sarasota, right? I think it was around Punta Gorda that it was certainly south of Sarasota and it was north of Fort Myers. So it was probably around that area. And there were FEMA trailers just in storage, you know, just on the side of the road because they had so many. So it's like, and so it's not like they don't exist. Where the hell are the freaking trailers? And it's not like, you know, a hurricane is like getting hit by a tornado in many ways. We've got this one area that's just been hit freaking hard. And then you can go a little bit further and there's nothing going on. And so I can't wrap my brain around it. And like I said, I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments below. For all I know, right over the hill over there, FEMA's all over the place, like a military operation. But I've not seen it. And that's not to say that FEMA's to blame. Whoever the hell's in charge of FEMA, I guess. Right? I don't know. Somebody's got to give the orders. But it's really upsetting because I'm here and I don't live here. But I spend a lot of time here and I've got friends and I've got family here and I'm helping out and I'm staying here and I'm coming here often and I am documenting this. And one of the many reasons why is actually not too long ago, before this happened, I was trying to find photographs or some sort of images of previous storms. I couldn't find anything. I couldn't even find photos of Biltmore Village. And I'm like, how is this stuff not well documented? And so I'm thinking, well, in 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, wow, look how beautiful this place is. You know, the mountains. That people will be interested to see, okay, look what happened there. You know, and I just want to follow the response. I want to show how long it's going to take to get things back together because, you know, the news cycle moves on and people make their silly jokes and share their silly memes and have their fun and, you know, insult people and whatever happened to that thing. Remember that? It was like prior to 2015, there was this big anti-bullying movement, right? Don't bully people. Don't make fun of people. Don't make fun of their hair. Don't make fun of their face. Don't make fun of what they weigh. And then all of a sudden, that like went out the window and it was back to online bullying again. And I can't wrap my brain around that. And so the news cycle is always changing. I get it, but I've got this YouTube channel, and if there's a way that I could document this, which I am, and I can share this with people in the future, and you might be watching this in the future, well, then that's what I'm doing, and I really appreciate everybody that's taken the time to watch these videos. Please feel free to let me know what you think about all the devastation that you have seen so far. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell because there's going to be more videos like this one, and I hope you check those out too. Please check out the links below to learn how to support my research and productions. This channel is sponsored by campfireshop.com, where you can order candles and herbal supplements and teas and more. I'd also appreciate it if you could become a member of my channel and or join me on Patreon, where you can see exclusive walk-in tours of cool places that I've been to. You could also leave a super thanks in the comments below. Kindly be kind to all of our fellow earthlings, and please do not harm them. They don't like that. And please show compassion for all living things. Please do yourself a favor and go to a local shelter and adopt a cat or a dog, or both. You and they will be very glad that you did. Until next time, I wish you safe travels on all your journeys.